Hi there, welcome to the Kenny Veach M Cave mystery. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some new coordinates which have been handed over in regard to a possible M cave. I'll be doing a map analysis today, looking up close, analysing to see, is it really an M cave? Could it be the one Kenny described? Or is it something else? And in terms of the location, it might surprise you because there seems to be a lot of activity going on in a particular location. Now, before we continue any further, I just want to say, if you want to catch up with the most recent of videos on this case and past ones, you've missed out, don't worry. You'll be able to find the entire full playlist, top right corner where the eye symbol is up there, with some loose videos attached. Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you want to remain updated with notifications on the latest videos on this case. Also, at any point through this video, let me know your thoughts. Do you think it is the M cave? Do you pick up anything else of interest? You have any thoughts, theories, questions, answers? Leave your comments and discussions down below under the video in the comment section. It will help with spreading awareness of the video so more people get to see it, and it might generate new interesting ideas down below, and I will respond back to those comments later. So feel free to share your thoughts, and if you want to support my channel, in the comments pinned message there is a PayPal link and YouTube channel membership. With that all being said, let's get into today's video. Firstly, I'll just type in the coordinates. They're the ones on screen. And if I click on it, it should take us to the location. The location which Kenny Veach hiked around and near to Picture Canyon. And I've already got a marker in place as for the M cave, okay? So if you wish to jot it down yourself or check for yourself in some way, feel free to do so. I just want to give you my general thoughts on the location and the visual aspect. Would Kenny Veach have acknowledged it himself in his hike video? Well, from the looks of it, no. But then again, he only included some of his footage when he was on his hike and recorded parts. Maybe he edited it out. Maybe he saw it but didn't think much of it. Who knows? Anything is possible. But, of course, you would want to know what it looks like when zoomed out. We've already got some previous markers there on the left, which I will acknowledge shortly after. We got Picture Canyon down here, like the exit point if you was to come out that way. Facing up that way, which is somewhat east. But there's the fact that from what we've already analysed, with this being Jomay Road, as it winds down that way, which approaches on the left Little Jomay Canyon, which is what Kenny Veach did, at least in his recorded video, with Wild Horse Pass being there, the mine shaft where that brown little dot is in the middle of the screen, up and over, and then heading down that way. And Kenny Veach said, I'm heading on down that way, where he believed the M cave would be. To him, he didn't find it. He made reference over that way of like Jomay Guzzler on the other side, that there was other caves in the taller mountains, but that's not where he found it, but you never know. This is just a quick little tour so you're familiar with the area and the importance of what's going on down here. Because when Kenny Veach was hiking down this way, it's what was caught on camera on the right. There was a selection, an array of caves. And you also had the one Jeff Claw encountered. And as for footage or photos up close video, I'll show you that very shortly. But we're mainly here for this new marker, supposedly, from my memory, of what someone believes to be the M cave. But is it really? So, pardon me, when looking at it from the side profile, appears to be some boulders and rocks on the side. Granted, it's not the clearest imagery, but it's just what it is when it comes to satellite. We can look higher up too. We've got to take in consideration, when Kenny Veach was possibly walking on by, he did say on ground level, and this is not ground level, it's higher elevation. But Kenny also said at the start of his video, where it's on the side of a mountain, and what do we have here? We have a mountain and a supposed cave on the side of it. Either high up or low down, it's just under the middle area. So It kind of fits Kenny's description there. Kenny also said it's gigantic, which is a contradiction to him describing it similar to his height, because Kenny isn't gigantic. I believe he's under 6 foot, so it's not that big. But this appears to be big, and if you flip it, it does resemble an M shape. There's no contesting that. But because of the shadows casted over, it appears like it might well be a ridge that is like an overhang. Now, the 3D doesn't do it justice, but if you angle it slightly, you should be able to see the lip, an M shape up and down with a point in the middle, an overhang in which it could go into somewhere, whether that be a cave or something shallow. Now, Kenny Veach, how he described it was, if you're, for example, on ground level, or at least you're walking by it or towards it, head on, it's an M shape. Now, this is looking down at it bird's eye view. So is it going to look the exact same if you're looking at it flat? Is it going to show a perfect M? Maybe not so much. It's the same with when you're looking at a mine shaft versus a mine. A mine shaft, vertical, bird's eye view, kind of does it justice, as in it's just going to be a hole, and because it's so zoomed out and far away, it's going to look small, basically. But if you're talking about a mine, and it was on the side of a mountain, you're going to be looking for a hole on the side. Perhaps 3D rendered to some extent. So an M-shaped cave higher up on a mountain, on the side, will show clearer, whereas when you're dealing with ground level, where it's flat down there, it's not 3D rendered the same way as the higher up parts, mountains and building tops. It doesn't quite do it justice. It's harder to tell or look for an M-shaped cave, which is almost stood upright, but on ground level. Higher up, it's more prominent and stands out, but because of this being angled, appears to be a ridge, an overhang. It could go in so far, the shadow casted. It definitely is M-shaped, but whether it's a cave or not, that's another question. However, there seems to be at least, if you want to call it, 3 overhangs or possible holes, or it goes in so far, where it's dark there, slightly in the middle, and then down here on the right. So it's worth acknowledging, right? You can let me know what you think in the comment section below. It's fairly high up. As for getting up there, hiking, is that even possible? Maybe from a certain angle, a stretch. I mean, further down here, which is going down Pitcher Canyon, and it's winding, on the left, and it looks steep anyway, unless you were able to work your way somewhere up there if it wasn't too steep. But on satellite, it looks steep enough, and it doesn't do it justice. So in real life, it's going to probably be even more steeper. So if it appears steep enough here, well then in real life, it'll be even more difficult. But if you've got the right equipment, maybe it's possible to get up too. Now, to my knowledge, has this actually been searched or checked out? I can't remember personally, but just giving my thoughts on this, I don't think it is a cave, but it is shaped as the letter M. But those darker areas where there might be a bit of an overhang or so, could it go in so far? If it did, well, then it would technically be a cave or a couple of caves where those holes are located. But nevertheless, just the general area it's in is very interesting. And speaking of higher elevation, where there could possibly be an M cave, there definitely was an M-shaped cave found, which was by Jeff Clark, roughly in the area round here, which is not far from the cave that Kenny was scared of, and then the collection of caves down this way. So maybe we'll do it in the correct order first of all. So with Kenny Veach, when heading down here, and he walked by a selection row of caves, which he didn't bother investigating or checking in on, he just walked by. You would have thought he could have stayed for a little bit in this area just to get up close to the caves, or at least introduce it to people, because, you know, he actually spent more time investigating the mine shaft than actual possible caves. The other caves, what he came by and walked by, they weren't the ones he was looking for. But once you get so far down here, there's really not much more left to go of the hike in a way, or there might not be as many opportunities of caves. So this is the only hope or chance you have, and okay, maybe it may not be the right place, or maybe there's been adjustments made in between, so Kenny's confused and thrown off by it. But nevertheless, why not just settle with something and make the most of what's present? Walk up to those caves and just say, hey, you know, these caves, I've seen them before, I've walked by them, or, oh, this looks a bit different this time round. Let's have a little investigation and a look up close. Kenny did that with the mine shaft. Pointed it out, pointed the surrounding area, looked down the mine shaft, spent quite a bit of time over that way. Why are you spending all that time at the mine shaft when it's got nothing to do with the supposed cave? Why not spend more time looking at caves than looking at mine shafts? That's what's interesting about Kenny Veach. When he actually came across possible M-shaped caves, even if it wasn't the cave, but it did share characteristics, he didn't really acknowledge it. He didn't walk up to it. He just walked by. Kind of like what Aquachigger did. So it's really strange. And just so you can see it on ground level, on the right hand side, covered cave, keyhole cave, M-shaped cave. And in the order Kenny Veach walks by them, it's the M-shaped cave, which is shaped as an M, followed by the keyhole cave, which has a hole in the back wall, documented by Sean Horlacker, and then the supposed covered up cave, which was further documented by Sean Horlacker in 2019. From Kenny's point of view, this is what it looks like on ground level.
And then there's lots of little caves, but they're not the kind of cave I'm looking for. The kind of cave I'm looking for is deep, and it's dark, and it's shaped like it's shaped just like the letter M. So lots of little caves and stuff along here, and it's about level with the ground, like in an area like this. So I really got to keep my eyes peeled because I don't want to pass it.
Noticed how he stuttered and got maybe a little uncomfortable. Interesting, because he did the same thing when he was in his house doing that little tour, saying, I can't show you that room over there. It's locked. It's a secret. There's things going on back there.
Now, the only room I'm not going to show you is my craft room, because I have so much going on in there that some of it's secret, other parts of it a little on the messy side, but it is the only room that I allow to get a little messy.
What's he hiding from us? You could interpret it that way. The other moment where he gets scared and actually starts walking faster, somewhat adjacent to that covered cave, on the left-hand side of this rock wall canyon, higher elevation, somewhere up that way where the red marker is, there was a shallow-ish cave. It wasn't shaped like an M, but it looked like there was something inside of it lurking out, watching over Kenny. Now, he didn't make any reference to seeing anything in there, but he did whisper something, which was interesting. He said something like, I'm not going up there. But he also said and whispered, looks like what exactly? I've done a video on that already, as for the clues and hints, but in terms of the raw footage from that angle on ground footage, this is what it looks like.
Yeah. And then there's caves like that. Looks like. I'm not going up there. And there's actually caves all over the place up here.
And not far off, further onto the right, similar elevation, it's when Jeff Clark came across his M-shaped cave, which appeared to be collapsed in. So as for how deep it originally went, who knows? Did Kenny Veach notice it at the time? Well, he didn't point it out in his footage. Did other hikers? No, it's only really Jeff Clark, which is interesting. Now, I don't think there's any video footage, but there are ground photos up close of the cave, which I'll show you right now. With taking that all in mind, it definitely seems to be a hot spot. Now you can say, well, there's still no M cave here, but there's a selection of things to look at one point places of interest, and it's all scattered in a small concentrated area. That's what makes it interesting. And to add on further, when it came to, for example, here, covered cave, keyhole cave, just outside on a boulder, there was a skull which Jeff Clark took a photo of in 2016, I think. And then he took another photo 0.7 or so miles up this way, round the bend and up the hill slightly, partially. I think it was this hill there. Up this hill there. Had the camera facing somewhere down there, that way, in that position. And the distance under 1 mile, but the time taken from photo A to photo B, because he was coming up east, up Pitcher Canyon, it took, well, at least a time difference of 2 hours. That's not normal, that's not right. There's been either a malfunction, some weird, interference. There's some equipment in the background, in the surrounding area, interference, military, very weird, lost time, unexplainable at this moment. As well, in a different situation, SB Vega's adventures when coming up, the same way Jeff Clark did, but a later year, years on, coming up this way, I believe heading to the mine shaft or so, and part of this hike up this way where the caves are located, and that M-shaped on what we've acknowledged, all the way up here, the footage was mysteriously lost. It just either deleted or just disappeared from his camera, his file, and he had no clue until he got back home when looking through the footage and realised there was missing footage. So for Jeff, there's missing time, and for SB, there is missing footage, and they didn't delete anything or touch anything like that. So unexplainable events in an area of high interest, of possible caves and interesting spots, including some M-shaped ones and that gigantic M-shape overhang. And if you wanted to add it in further down Pitcher Canyon, down that way, you had Kenny Veach capturing it on camera, the ghostly voices, and one of the lines said, "Follow the red tape." What is going on in this area? It's very unusual. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Feel free to hit the like button, share the video so more people get to see it. My name's Warlight Raf. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Good night for now.